sure that, again, always, if anything happens, and I suppose I'd rather it happen to me than her. But
Careful.
I know. Okay. And for you guys, I'm gonna climb down in here.
Careful, baby.
Yeah, I know, I'm checking.
Oh, that is so strange.
Yeah.
Vertical slit.
So you can see the aperture at the top. And the vertical slit. And each one of these housings has the same configuration.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the land of Chem. I'm your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back. Now, I have something very special for today's episode, extremely rare footage from inside of the satellite pyramids adjacent to the Great Pyramid on the Giza Plateau. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's intro, so without further ado, let's get right to it.
Can I take pictures?
Okay, pictures.
Pictures with this. Okay. Yes, close.
Screws. No good. No good.
No photos. Take photos.
Telephone.
Photos, yeah.
Telephone.
I don't have.
Good. Good.
شكرا. So this looks unusual. There's
Sarcophagus.
Oh,
Sarcophagus. Come.
so come over here and check this out.
Excuse me. Let's stop.
أيوة.
تعال هنا. تعال من عندك هنا.
ها؟
ممنوع بتاعك ده.
Okay.
ممنوع.
Help. Hey, come here.
اقفل الفيديو بقى على الكاميرا دي.
شكرا.
اقفل الفيديو.
No, خلاص.
No video.
It's off.
Good. الكاميرا.
It's off. This is photo only.
No, it's good.
Okay. But I was just looking here to see if these, you see this is bedrock
Yes.
here on the left, and then there's blocks inserted here, which may be part of the paving. These look excavated later, the pits.
Did you see inside?
So that part here leads over to this side.
It looks like there's another access.
And you see the big vein, iron oxide vein, running through here, through the top. Huge vein of iron oxide running through here.
Sorry.
So
That's
the original.
masonry, that's not bedrock.
Yeah, so this is bedrock. This is all bedrock. They have the original casing stones that would align the chamber. There's paving stones, and then there looks like later excavations in here. These look like later excavations.
Here, let's get the flashlight and get some pictures.
Sure.
You do flashlight? I was not expecting this.
Well, it looks like a very similar configuration to the first satellite pyramid.
What's
The entrance is not near as steep. Again, if you go to the other side, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to see the light from there because it just goes through.
No video.
what's over there?
It's just a dead end.
Now if you shine on that.
Go ahead.
Take a picture here.
يلا.
All right, bro. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. No, it's okay. Here, watch out for that pin right here. Will you hold this? Here, hold this for a second. Hold this. Hold on one second, babe.
Okay.
شكرا.
سيكون صديقي صديقي محمد مش
Can I see this real quick? I just want to take a look. Thank you. تمام شكرا.
كده
ايوه
ماشي يلا يا حاج يلا
Yeah, yeah. It just goes to the passage that we. So this is all bedrock, babe. Here, this is all bedrock. And then this is the limestone masonry, the original walls of the chamber. Yeah. These look later. Cool. Do what? Oh yeah, yeah. Sure.
كلنا مساكين.
Okay.
اطلع طلع
ماشي ولا يا دي وين؟
Cool.
مع السلامة.
Okay, صديقي شكرا خلاص.
الحمد لله تمام.
يا ايوه شكرا.
سلام قطف دماغ. ماشي فين؟
انا اسمي احمد يوسف.
يوسف.
ايوه.
يوسف تيم. يوسف تيم.
ده هو بيرو هو
ايوه عفوا.
الحمد لله مع السلامة.
Yeah, there's big veins running through the whole thing. Okay.
Any pictures?
You can see the iron left here from the vein.
سوري. ما فيش مشكلة.
ايوه okay.
ما هذا الشيء.
Yeah, it's hot now. You take that and throw that thing off. All right. So we'll do the intro now. All right, everyone, welcome back. And what you just saw is extremely rare footage from inside the third satellite pyramid of the Great Pyramid, which you can see behind me, conventionally and archaeologically designated as G1C. Giza 1 being the Great Pyramid, Satellite Pyramid C, the third satellite pyramid. And our intention was to come up here today to investigate G1A,
the first satellite pyramid, as I have an absolutely massive research episode coming up for this month's members only video discussing the source of sulfur on the Giza plateau and the mechanisms by which it was introduced into the sulfur furnace, otherwise known as the King's Chamber, for the production of the dilute sulfuric acid solution. And all of this directly involves the 3 satellite pyramids here. So I believe somewhere I have some unreleased footage from inside of G1A from a previous tour group that I took inside there. So I'll probably try to put that in today's episode so that you can see the slight difference in configuration. Mainly being the inlet shaft into G1A is much steeper, and there appears to be some missing valve type components in the middle chamber. So as you saw in this one, the descending shaft goes to sort of an antechamber and then down into the lowest chamber. That configuration is the same for G1A, but there are some, well, I'll put it in the footage so you can see it, but it looks like there was a valve closure or a housing of some sort where there was a mechanism that was once installed inside of this bottom chamber.
A very
when you get
deep
down
drop.
to the bottom, it is going to take a right. Go very slowly, because at the end of the last part of the shaft, it drops straight off into the bottom chamber. So be very careful. All right, let's go.
I go down. Jeff said.
So you'll notice as we head down here how steep this is. And I just did a video where Zahi Hawass described this pyramid as a quote-unquote changing room, where the pharaoh would come down in here, change out of his royal garments, and then lead to the exterior of the pyramid for the Hempstead Festival.
It's slippery, guys. Watch out.
This comes from Zahi Hawass himself, that this was a quote-unquote changing room. Very steep shaft. The right angle turn is something that we also haven't seen a lot of. You'll see there's a big hole right here, and what appears to may have been a housing or a valve.
Triangular hole here.
So you can see there's a circular hole, and then there's a piece missing right here.
A triangular hole here.
There's no telling what is actually underneath. So Debbie, you gotta be real careful there at the end, because this just drops off. Yes, ma'am. All right, we're right behind you. Somebody's glasses. Holger.
Here's a triangular hole here.
Ah, yes, there. Another big piece.
You want your flashlight?
Yeah, I think it's time. Just put it in the side thing. There we go. All right, you guys enjoying your interviews with the Minister of Antiquities? As he's been doing with all of the guests, it appears?
He's a good guy.
Yeah, no, he's just... He's also contributing some very interesting information. I don't know if you heard that, but he was saying that anecdotally reported there's a tunnel from the Great Pyramid to the Sphinx, which is something I've always intuitively expected as we discuss the function of the Sphinx enclosure. It is definitely connected to both the Central Pyramid and to the Great Pyramid, and you'll see why. There are some eroded shafts that lead into the back of the Sphinx enclosure that are currently closed off. All right? So I'm gonna head on in, and you guys follow. Again, watch out as you get to the bottom of this shaft. There's a very steep drop off into the main chamber.
La de Megalithic y la de Metalurgy está mejor que esta. A ver, es más completa. Está bastante mejor.
All right, so once everybody gets down in here, we'll talk a little bit about the
Aquí el airecito no me pasa, ¿eh? Bueno, lo que se ha encontrado en las 13, cuando se abrieron, en los descansos esos que hay ahí, material suntuario, peinecitos, espejitos de bronce, cosas de un baño de lujo, vamos. Jaboneras,
Let me take your pack.
esponjas de taxi.
Got it over? Good.
¿Ves?
Okay. Perfect.
Claro, un spa, no había nunca se encontró material funerario, sino material suntuario. Y además, se encontró hace unos años, ahora como 15 años, se encontró la tumba de Dulce. Y siguen llamándole a la pirámide la tumba de Dulce.
Okay.
O sea que...
So Satellite Pyramid 1, G1A. And according to conventional archaeology, Zahi Hawass describes this structure. They don't know for sure what these satellite pyramids were for. There is no funerary apartment found inside of here. Zahi Hawass describes this as a quote-unquote changing room, where the pharaoh would descend down in here in his royal regalia. He would change for the Hebsed festival, and then climb back up the shaft to the exterior of the structure. And this is, again, a quote by Zahi Hawass describing the function of this chamber. And a few unusual things that you'll notice here on this block. The red painting material we've seen in some of the other structures is also painted onto these blocks. You see red material here. There's a few areas here where the red material is painted onto the blocks. There's also, again, a very anomalous piece. This does not look like black basalt. I think this is a different type of material. I can't conclusively say what this black piece of stone is and where it came from. Or the more important question is, where's the rest of it? And what was actually carved out of this piece of black basalt? So you can see here the red coating on the blocks. There's also some red marks here, which are usually indications of mason's marks that were either used in the carving of the structure or the layout of the blocks. You can also see here there's some stain and some coating here on the walls. That red line goes all the way across. You can see some red lines here, this red line here, the red lines, all in the structure are ancient mason marks. Again, either in lining up the blocks, so they're making sure that they're all placed in the correct place. And these are all originally cased, these walls are these casing blocks here, which have now been removed.
You can read about pyramid.
Oh, hablo español también.
¿Ah, sí?
Muy bien hecho, señor.
Ah, bien, puedes explicar lo que era eso. Lo
Thank you.
descubrimos hace
Muchísimas
poco
gracias.
tiempo. Descúbrelo bien, que vale la pena. Hay que usarla todo el mundo. Pasado bien.
Hasta luego. Placer encontrarte. Ok.
Restaurado.
Un placer.
Ah, sí, sí, sí. Maravilloso.
So I can usually tell. ¿Eres de España?
Sí, bueno,
Yeah,
Argentina,
okay.
vengo de España.
Un acento de España, yes.
Muy bien.
Me encanta.
Mucha suerte.
Yo viví en Trujillo hace 6 meses.
Ah,
Trujillo.
sí,
Yeah.
pasaron muy bien.
Ah. ¿Y usted? Okay. So again, very unusual chamber. Very, very steep incline leading down into here. We saw some circular holes. What could have possibly been some housings for a component. Again, absolutely no evidence whatsoever of this ever being a burial chamber, and conventional archaeology is inconclusive on that as well. So it looks here like this piece has been removed. This block here. You see how that's all cracked out, and they put it back in there and wedged it back into place? This piece has been removed. You can see that patch right there. See that concrete?
Then the lower block.
Yeah, so see the concrete here?
Yeah.
This is modern concrete. Here.
Around the edge.
Yep, and then they put that piece of wood in there to wedge this thing back in place. So I always look for evidence of outlet shafts. Different holes that connect inlet function and outlet. So this piece here, again, that piece of wood and the modern concrete, they've definitely removed this block because it's not in its original place. And there's no need to concrete this back in if it's just a fragment that was found in here. So, very cool chamber, in my opinion. The steeper the shaft, the higher the pressure.
The flat roof, so not
Flat roof, but
trying to compress
it's also,
storage.
right, it's hard to tell whether there was an original ceiling of some sort in here, because again, all of the casing has kind of been removed. You can see here in this corner, there's a huge hole that was excavated. Anytime I see these big holes, the question is, you know, what was the impetus for them carving this huge hole in there? Was there a component? Was there a shaft? Something that was leading out of this corner of the chamber that gave them the idea, hey, we're going to take all this extra manpower and dig a huge hole into the side of the chamber.
This is below the original wall. So the volume is being caught.
Is that the original one? Is that the one we're doing now?
So it's hard to say where, so this is most likely the wall, and there was probably a casing stone wall that covered this entire area. So it would be difficult to conclusively say if there was a wall all the way across here, or if there was a cavity. But it looks by the chisel marks that there was probably something, you know, again, all these blocks were moved out.
Right there.
But there's
This is
red things on the
also-
side of that block, so that's contained every side of every block.
So also a patch here.
Yeah.
This is a patch. So there was probably some digging here. You can also see there's some salt coating here on the walls. This is all salt, which I'm imagining that's probably calcium sulphate as well, which is very typical. See this crystalline material, that's salt coating on the walls here.
We still have red painting all over these walls.
Yeah.
So you paint the bedrock wall, and then you paint even the walls of blocks. So
Yep.
you can see the faces have really been exposed.
Yeah.
That's a lot more forward.
And so there is more of the salt here.
Not really.
So this area may have actually been exposed.
And then it,
Or maybe it was started to be used.
Chamber. As always, my lovely wife Alexa from Ancient Odysseys. I basically did what I wanted to do up here on the Giza Plateau today. So, I'm gonna fire up a cigar and I'm just gonna follow her around for the rest of the afternoon. I don't know what she wants to see, but we're gonna, wherever she goes, I'll find some content to film. So again, here's a shot. This is the remains of G1A, G1B, and G1C. The three satellite pyramids adjacent to the Great Pyramid. And there was actually a fourth satellite. So I've said this before, there were originally 11 pyramids on the Giza Plateau. 5 of them are located here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and this was actually a satellite pyramid as well. A lot of this is restoration work, but you can see the descending shaft here, some of the core, sorry, the GoPro just shut off there, some of the core limestone masonry here, and then the central chamber. And as you just saw, again, you can see a huge vein of iron. The iron veins that I've been documenting here on the plateau connect all of these structures. Every single one of them is precisely integrated into a connecting iron vein, which will be important in an upcoming discussion. You can see the vein here. And there's the continuation on the other side. Click my screen, there you go, you can see it here. All right, so I'll let Lex make her decision as to where we want to go. And the plateau dog's there.
We could look for the remnants of the ramp on the southwestern corner.
Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen it yet, Alexa and I did a collaboration, well, a series of collaboration videos with our reaction to the recent Dr. Zahi Was interview on Joe Rogan. Those are now available on her channel, Ancient Odysseys. I'll put links in the video description below so you can see our live reaction, response, and some actual documentation that we provide in the editing process to support all of our responses, objections, etc. to what was said in that interview. And he mentioned that there was the remains of a ramp coming from the southwestern corner down into the quarry area, which goes down around this way, of which we have never seen any evidence. So yeah, we can walk around that way, whatever you want to do.
Okay, that or the east field.
All right, we'll make a decision. We'll be right back. All right, so let's continue with an assessment of the configuration of components here adjacent to the Great Pyramid. So it's not just the Great Pyramid and the satellites. There are a series of what would be conventionally called mastabas here on the south side of the plateau and the south side of the Great Pyramid. Strategically placed closet there. And all of these mastabas have very deep shafts that run down into the structure. So let's see if we can maybe walk up here, have a look at one of these access shafts. I do believe that these mastabas are contemporary to the Great Pyramid. And we'll go until somebody tells us that we're not supposed to be up here. I think it's okay. There we go. Holy shit. Yeah. And all of these mastabas have one. This one, you can see one there. There's another one over here. Here's a big lump of iron oxide and other metal mineral ore there. You can see the shaft here. This one's relatively filled in, hasn't been excavated, but it looks like there's two in the front and in the middle in each one of these mastabas. Yeah, pretty awesome view. Inception. All right.
This is cool.
It's nice and quiet up here today. All right, so today we're smoking another Avowed New Dawn. Ugh. Doing everything we can to stay out of the sun, sand, and wind today. It's pretty brutal up here. Been getting blasted in the face with sand. Which makes cigar smoking exceedingly difficult, but we shall persevere in the pursuit of nicotine. I'm down to my last 3 cigars, so I'm going to enjoy every single minute smoking this thing down to the roach. If I can stop yapping and keep this thing lit. All right, so we're going to keep going, exploring the south side of the Great Pyramid. Yep. This is an unusual structure. You can see that there are some columns here. And there may have been, because you can see that these are coming up at a diagonal here. So I don't know whether this was a passage here that went through. Maybe there was a wall. Roofing here, like this is the wall, this is the roof, but it's an unusual height and unusual configuration. I've never seen these slanted blocks like this here. It's odd. So regarding the nomenclature of temple, right? So generally speaking, temple is just something that is a sacred space. And alchemy or chemistry to this ancient civilization would have absolutely been a sacred and revered discipline. So I actually agree with the nomenclature and designation of these ancillary structures as temples, because they were sacred, revered, holy spaces for the alchemical rendering of magical chemicals. Now, of course, today we don't view these things as being magical anymore because they've lost their mystery and the allure. But it would have been the priests, the initiates, that were allowed into these sacred spaces to do these rituals. Again, ritual is just a behavior that is done on a repeated basis to elicit some intended outcome. The ritual of chemical production or processing or rendering, you know, various products related to metals absolutely would have been a ritual process. And alchemy still very much was a sacred ritualistic practice up until the establishment of our modern chemistry and industrialization thereof, where chemistry was no longer a process that worked in conjunction with the forces of nature as it did for the ancient civilization that built these things. Can you can get down here? Yeah. Here, I'll get you. Hold on.
This is a restoration. Thank you.
So who knows what all these things are. These are all later structures. You can see it's made out of rubble. So there are absolutely later dynastic structures and internments here. Again, this isn't compatible with anything that we know about the original construction of the Giza Plateau. But like, here's a shaft. You can see the lintel beam going across here, this lintel beam, and there's something going down into the bedrock here. So again, there's untold amounts of chambers and other structures that are definitely still buried below the Giza Plateau. Yeah, oh yeah.
It's all like China and Japan.
Here you can see all the new buses that take people around the Giza Plateau, which, as you saw in last week's Sunday site visit, was actually a rather pleasant experience. What do you want to do?
Oh, look in this area?
Let's go. Yeah, tons of flint around here. Lex is referring to the evidence that was claimed to exist on the Giza Plateau by Dr. Zahi Hawass in his Rogan interview of the ramp, which we've never seen anything that even closely resembles a ramp. He said it's here on the southwest corner leading down into the quarry area, and we can go head over in that direction. I've showed this before, this channel that leads off below the bedrock here. The big veins of iron and metal ore that are running through this area here. This is a huge vein of it here. Here you can see really good evidence of the nummulitic limestone. Look at all the shells. This entire area, this is all bedrock. Limestone bedrock.
That's the word.
Yeah, nummulitic limestone. And all of these are shells. All these are all shells. From the Tethys Sea 500 million years ago, or that's the estimate they give, but millions, hundreds of millions of years ago, the bedrock of the Giza Plateau was formed at the bottom of the Tethys Sea when all of this was underwater. Way, way before the Egyptian pyramids were constructed. But you find this exact same nummulitic bedrock limestone in the stones of the core masonry of the pyramids.
Is that why there's brackish walls?
So the brackish water in the Osiris shaft is most likely trace remnants of the saltwater aquifers that are still below the Giza plateau. Do you have that translation of the hieroglyph? We may need, yeah, we may need to come back for that, because there's a very, very important hieroglyphic inscription that we've showed in the West Field, which is the area over here. So we're currently on the southwestern corner, south face, western face. This is known as the West Field, and we have extensive documentation of the structures in the West Field. And there's something really, really critical that we'll get back out there to film additional documentation and interpretation. But I want to make sure that we get the translation correct, because it's once you see it, then you'll understand why it's such an important piece. We'll be right back. All right, so we made it over to the West Field. I'm gonna hide away in the shade here for a minute. And I'm gonna show you over here on the right an absolutely fascinating and extremely rarely documented structure here in the West Field that is absolutely a functional component of the Giza Plateau industrial chemical manufacturing and mining operation. And gotta be careful in here. Foot there. Okay.
Thank you.
Which is this structure and this structure here.
Yeah, they're nearly identical.
Yep, the internal configurations are the same. And you can see the opening here. Yeah, well, this gotta watch out for that. Before you go in there, hold on, let me go first, because we did run into some snakes back here last time. All right, so you can see the opening here, here. So there were 4 of these openings on the back side of this structure. And down in here, we'll get the flashlight. Got the flashlight. I think I have one in my.
You want me to light?
That's fine. So you can't really see. There's definitely bats in there too. I can see the bats flying around. We'll go down the other way. Yeah, we'll look at the other.
Oh, shit.
Shit. She's fucking bats.
It's always a surprise.
Alright, so I'm gonna go in here and investigate this thing just so you can see the inside of it.
Alright, I can hold your cigar and the flashlight.
You stay here. Well, I know, but I want to make sure that, again, always, if anything happens, I guess I suppose I'd rather it happen to me than her. But,
Careful.
I know. Okay. And for you guys, I'm gonna climb down in here.
Careful, babe.
Yeah, I know. I'm checking.
Oh, that is so strange.
Yeah.
Vertical slit.
So you can see the aperture at the top. And the vertical slit. And each one of these housings has the same configuration.
What's on the other end?
And for those of you on the members only channel, you've already heard a discussion of the potential function of these. I can tell you, I can feel a nice cool blast of air coming through this thing, coming through that aperture at the top. Which is unusual because this structure is mostly enclosed on the other side. All right.
Does it remind you of something? Here, can we look on the other side of the aperture?
Well, let's go on the other side. And we're gonna climb on top of this one because it gives you a better view, unless this is open. That's not open, but. All right, yeah, so here you can see, we shine the light, yep. Okay, to the right.
Oh, you can see the
Okay,
aperture.
yeah, you can see the opening of the internal aperture, and then to the left. There, you can see the slanted inlet and the opening of the vertical slit here. Let's see if you can see to the left even more. Yep, okay, good.
Strange.
And then we go all the way to the right.
The conventional explanation is that these are nous. Is that right?
So
There is very little archaeological explanation or documentation of this structure. I do have some diagrams that I've shown in previous episodes that show the full configuration of these things. So the question you should be asking yourself is, why is there a vertical housing like that on the inside of this structure? Here you can see the outside. And we can go over here. I think this one was open, that we can just walk in this one.
Yep. I wish there was some lifts left.
I remember last time we scaled these walls and then realized that the front door was open.
Now we know.
Now we know. All right, so this one has the same configuration as the other one. The upper part of it is just completely destroyed. And you can see the interior. So this is where we just were inside of this thing. This is the horizontal aperture. Yeah, yeah.
It's been exposed to that. It's a really cool shot.
And these are huge structures. From the internal configuration that these chambers were not accessible to people, not from the outside or from the inside. So they are completely isolated. Lead the way. Hieroglyph, yeah.
See if I can remember. Magellan here.
If not, I can, yeah. Great navigator. Alright, let's cut left. Correct.
We've gotten to know the plateau quite well. Very fortunate.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing any of these signposts before.
To the north of some of Newgrange, the supposed architect.
Yeah, so look at the size of this structure here.
We've been wanting to come out here for so long.
It is absolutely immense. And we've never had the opportunity to get over this way. The wall we're looking for is over here, but this thing is huge. I mean, it's probably the width of the final pyramid in terms of the width of the base. That is huge. So we'll see if we can get over here and get a little closer. So here. And it's actually written on both sides. Yeah, we haven't seen this side. Alright, so we're gonna get down in here. Okay. And we'll go around to the other side because the hieroglyphs are a lot clearer. And I'll close the video with an explanation of what these hieroglyphs say. These up here. All right, so here's the other side of the structure. And we're going to look over the top here so we can see the inside of, well, it's completely filled with sand. So there was a structure in here. We were just on this other side and it led down into here, now completely filled with sand. And let me step back here. So you can see this whole inscription. So there's a couple of very important phrases that are incorporated in this. And the official translation that we got from our Egyptologist friend, Professor Muhammad, is that the one who gives light to the place, to the White Temple in Memphis, his name is Kim Ankh. And you can see over here, Alexa was doing the translation. This is Kim Ankh here. And then this symbol here is the House of White Light. And it's repeated in multiple directions, coming from this way to the center, and then this way to the center. This piece here being the center. So this and this, the House of White Light. perhaps esoterically referring to the house of the white lightning, giving light to the white temple. In a very, very obscure area. There's also some other glyphs in here that were representing splendor and glory and shining.
These are a little bit different from the ones on the other side.
Okay.
I think this means Memphis location. But I can show you
On the other
like
side.
a vase with a loop.
Okay.
It looks, we've seen this in Dendera.
Okay. Interesting. So they also have similar hieroglyphic inscriptions in Dendara. The house of white light. The house of shining white light.
I love that.
Certainly sounds relevant to what we've been discussing. All right, so now we're going to wrap up today and we'll walk back around so you can see this absolutely colossal structure back here. Which has no designation on all of the archaeological diagrams. All of these have labels. For example, we were talking about, okay, this is G2, the second Giza pyramid. And all of these have alphanumeric designations, except for this one. Another empty building. Zayek! Huh? Oh, okay, Ana Asif. Well, there you go, before we get kicked out. So huge. Obviously, he was telling us what we already know.
I wish we had that on camera.
So he just said that there's just a big masaba and there's a shaft that goes underground in the masaba, yeah. So again, this structure is immense.
That's why I can't find anything on the internet about it.
He's following us. Of course, we're going to try to sneak back around there. All right, but at least we got to see it. I know you've been wanting to get up close to that thing.
That was really cool. I'm happy we checked it somewhere else.
And Alexa also wanted to see one more thing while we're up here on this corner. So we'll wrap up in this direction. Yeah. But that guy was very nice.
He was.
Because, yeah, we're not supposed to be back here. Huge, huge structure here. I mean, it's just, it's immense.
I wonder if we after next.
It's probably the length of, you know, it's certainly possible. We might want to go down here.
Do you have extra cash?
It's all right. We can come back. Got it?
Thank you.
All right, so as always, get a little exclusive content. Thankfully, no snakes today. Again, this whole area is just filled with these mastaba structures that I can't help but get the impression that these are just, you know, industrial facilities that are, you know, beside any modern industrial chemical manufacturing plant, you have all sorts of warehouses and, you know, quality control areas. You know, areas where people worked, laboratories, other monitoring stations. And coming up soon, for those of you that watch to the end of the video, I'll make a formal announcement when the podcast comes out, but we just did a about 2 hours with Andy Hall, the legend, plant engineer.
Here, this is the name of the tomb, the name of the temple. This one here, this is 2,500 years before the crowds.
And you were saying that in the big mastaba, there's a shaft that goes underground in the center.
Too many shafts here. This for this
Sure,
one.
yeah, all of them.
Shaft for this one.
Yeah.
This one here. And this one here, this is the tomb, and this is the name of the tomb. But this is this one. Mastaba, big mastaba here. Too many tombs. And this one. This one here.
Do they ever become open?
Yes.
And this is actually the first pieces I've seen of red granite out here.
Some people you come for the prayer here.
Ah, to prayer, meditation. Yeah, yeah.
This is the name of the tomb. This one here, this one is the name of the tomb.
Overseer of all works of the king.
But inside,
So the guy was saying how these are mastabas, kind of articulating my previous point, but from the conventional dynastic Egyptian perspective, that these are the mastabas for the engineers and the priests and the alchemists and all of the people that were involved, from my perspective, in the operation of the Egyptian pyramids. Like I was just saying, their offices. You know, you have your engineering office, your chemistry office, your lab, your quality control, all of these different types of ancillary facilities that have, you know, performing various functions related to the overall scope of industrial manufacturing here on the plateau. So you can see the guys, he has actually been very nice to show us around the area, saying that there's connections underground with all of these structures, which we've documented with the mastabas adjacent to the Great Pyramid. And so this side, so in talking about areas of the industrial facility over by Kent Cowes, near the harbor area, they had the distribution of the harbor. And on this side, it seems to be more technical with labs and engineers and Massive structures.
statue inside. Can you see below?
All right, that's it for today. See you next time. First, a quick announcement. The Land of Chem 2025 Ancient Alchemy and Ascension Tour is on, and bookings are now available with almost a year to plan ahead. This is my most extensive and immersive tour thus far, covering the entire country of Egypt and all of the ancient sites, including Saqqara and the Serapeum, the pyramids of Dashur, the newly opened Grand Egyptian Museum, private special permission access to Abu Sir, the pyramids of the Giza Plateau, and a private entry into all 3 chambers of the Great Pyramid of Giza at night. Then we fly to Upper Egypt to explore Luxor Temple, Karnak Temple, Dendara, the Temple of Seti I, and the Osireion, followed by a Nile cruise to investigate the Hatshepsut Temple, Kamombo and Aswan, Abu Simbel, and finally Elephantine Island, possibly one of the final resting places of the Ark of the Covenant. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to experience the best of what Egypt has to offer. So if you are interested in joining, please send me an email with the subject line 2025 Egypt Tour to contact@thelandofchem.com, and I will send you the full tour itinerary and pricing details. Thank you all so much, and I will see you soon in Egypt. All right, everyone, that is it for today's video. This was Sunday Site Visit 104. Extremely rare footage from inside of the satellite pyramids adjacent to the Great Pyramid on the Giza Plateau. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube if you're interested in the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world. If you want to help support the channel and get access to exclusive research content, check out the Land of Chem members only channel and thelandofchem.com. If you want to pick up a copy of the book, links in the video description below. If you want to follow me on Instagram or on X, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our 3 other channels, Ancient Odysseys, Let's Go with Lex and G, and the best channel on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats, for all you cat lovers out there. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's episode, so I will see you next time. Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.